Hey YouTube, New York Half-Ass Prepper here. I'm over here at the day job, which it's actually a night job tonight, and steaming across to go over and pick up my barge and deliver it. A lot of people have asked me to comment on the recent Navy collisions with other ships because I'm a mariner, and they ask for my take on it. And in the case of the first one, the Fitzgerald, I believe that the Navy is going to be found at fault. Actually, it's the responsibility of both ships to avoid collision. Even if we have rules of the road out here and about who's supposed to give way and who's supposed to stand on, etc. But if there's going to be a collision, then both vessels are bound by the rules to act to avoid the collision. So, in the case of the Fitzgerald, they're probably going to find both ships probably equally at fault, but I would say more on the Navy's side with that. On the second one, forget the name of the ship now. Oh, the John McCain was the ship, Navy ship involved. It appears that they were the stand-on vessel and maybe the tanker didn't give way, but the Navy does a very curious thing. They enter. We have a thing on the ship called AIS. It stands for Automatic Identification System. And if you look at my chart plotter here, it's a simple off-the-shelf chart plotter. It's nothing special. But all these little yellow triangles on here represent other vessels, other ships. And the Navy turns their transmitters off even when they're in crowded and congested waters, which is kind of dumb. I understand in the Navy they're supposed to be sneaking around, but everybody knows where they are anyway. They have to interact with these other ships when they're in the Straits of Malacca and these other congested places. So they should really change the policy and turn those things off so the other ships can see where they are. Because things can catch up on you pretty quick out here, especially when you're moving a ship at a Navy ship, probably 20 knots, and a merchant ship probably a little bit less than that. So you're closing at a speed of 40 knots together. So you have two very heavy, large objects closing at a very high rate of speed. It's a lot of energy going on there. But I believe that the overall problem is the training of the officers. The Navy is the Navy, and they do things the Navy way. There's the right way, the wrong way, and the Navy way. And on a Navy ship, they probably have a O1 or an O2 officer with very little experience in charge of the ship at night. And even the guys that are in charge of the entire ship, the captain of the ship, the master of the vessel, is a Navy commander or a Navy captain, 05, 06 rank. And those guys, if you look at their backgrounds, Commander Sanchez, or both the XO and the CO are both named Sanchez. It's kind of confusing having both of those guys on the same ship, but they got these cushy administrative jobs and short billets and command schools and stuff like that before their assignment on the ship. So they're not really mariners. That's what that tells me. They're not really sailors. They're not into it. And when I find out from working with it alongside the Navy and being in the Coast Guard years ago myself, that the seagoing billet, the job on the ship, the billet, is just a ticket to punch. They got to do this, they got to do that, they go to this school, the War College, and then they got to take command of a ship, and then they can be an admiral. And that's what everybody's trying to do. They're trying to maintain a 20-25 year career and become an admiral at the end of it. And getting a command of a destroyer is just one of the necessary steps along the way. Whereas here on the Merchant Marine side, we're out here all the time. This is what we do. So you'll get on a ship, and it's not unheard of. Guys will stay on the same ship for 20 years. It's called homesteading. and they'll do it. But a merchant mariner, we sail, in case of tugboats, I'm out here at sea 180 days a year, and this is what we do. You know, we're not looking to become admirals after 20 years. We're just looking to sail. So it's a different culture with the Navy. But I think you're going to see some admirals and some high-ranking officers lose their jobs over this thing, because I clearly think this is a Navy training issue, a Navy problem. They don't want to turn on AIS. They don't want to talk to other ships on the radio, even when they're in crowded waters. They don't want to make arrangements with other ships for as far as passing and overtaking like other mariners do. So until they get with the program, they are working on getting some merchant mariners out there on the ships, but it's going to be tough going for them, because the guy that's trained, the guy that graduated either Fort Schuyler, which is my alma mater, or Kings Point, or one of the other maritime academies, California, Maine, Massachusetts, Texas. To get a graduate in one of those, these guys make a lot of money when they're out sailing around on tankers and container ships. So to be an officer in the Navy is taking a serious pay cut. So they're going to have to like really make it easy and really make it a good deal to get these guys to come over and steer their ships for them. So that's my take on the situation. We'll see how this tree shakes out when they do it. But anyway, it's a really beautiful night, nice and clear, coming across New York Harbor. That's the Freedom Tower over there. See if I can get a zoom in on it. The city's well lit tonight. See everything. And I always say to the guys that this job here has its moments, and tonight is one of them. So that's it. I'm out.